This document shows how the human brain actually works, and it's so powerful that the CIA hid it from public eyes for decades. But a few years ago I managed to get my hands on it. And what's inside will not only change your life but will help you scale your business to hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. How do I know? Because that's what it did for me. So in this video, I'm going to show you the 2 specific techniques that help me scale my business and how you can use them to not only smash all your business goals, but also build a life of time, location, and financial freedom. But before we dive into that, there are a few things you need to know about why this document was purposefully hidden from public eyes for decades. I'm Ross Harkness, founder of selfmastery.co, a bespoke consulting company that helps entrepreneurs take themselves and their business to the next level. So why did the CIA, one of the most powerful intelligence agencies in the world, decide to make this document around what's called the Gateway Process? Well, there's a few reasons, which I'll keep it brief, but one of them was the Cold War. The United States were doing everything they could to get any sort of advantage on Russia. That included military and technological research, but also psychological research. This Gateway Process was just one of the ways they tried to get ahead, and in fact it was part of a much larger and much more powerful project called Project Stargate, which investigated some pretty crazy stuff like remote viewing, telepathy, and psychokinesis. And what they discovered when researching the Gateway Process was so damn powerful that they kept it classified and hidden from public eyes for decades. But what did they discover, and why was it so powerful? Well, if you want the truth, we only actually know part of what they discovered, because at the bottom of page 24 of this document it reads, "And the eternal thought or concept of self which results from this self-consciousness serves thee." And then page 25, where this statement is continued, is missing. So we will never know the full extent of what they discovered, and I doubt that page is missing by accident. But in the simplest way, what the Gateway Process can be summed up as is that we move toward what we focus on, which, whether you know it or not, you'll have already experienced. Think about when you're driving a car. If you're driving on a straight road but you decide to look out your side window, your car will start to turn and drive to where you're looking. Now, this is an incredibly simplistic example, but the point stands. You were focusing on this certain thing and you started to move toward it. But what was the purpose behind their research? Well, the whole purpose of the Gateway Process was to help individuals use altered states of consciousness to control reality and change what they focus on, to help bring that focus into their life. Because if you change what you focus on in the deepest level, you will subconsciously look for opportunities, take actions, and make decisions that move you toward that thing you're focusing on, bringing it into reality in what feels like an effortless way. But there's a problem with this. This works for both good and bad, and we as humans are riddled with negativity bias. We tend to focus on the bad, and hence we bring that negativity into our reality. So if you focus on how your business isn't growing, you will subconsciously make certain decisions and take certain actions that bring that focus into reality and keep your business stagnant. This is where the 2 techniques that the CIA discovered in the Gateway Process come into play to help you bring what you truly want into your life. But in order to use these techniques correctly, you first need to understand what the CIA called hemisync. What this refers to is the 2 hemispheres of your mind, the left and the right, and how they interact. So left hemisphere, right hemisphere, what's the difference and what do they do? Well, the left hemisphere is your logical mind, or you could look at this as the rational or conscious mind, whilst the right hemisphere is your emotional and creative mind, or you could look at this as the irrational or unconscious mind. And what they say in this document is that the right hemisphere, which functions as the non-critical, holistic, non-verbal, and pattern-oriented component of the brain, appears to accept what the left hemisphere passes to it without question. So the left hemisphere of your mind is like a filter. It must accept and let through information before it gets into the right hemisphere, which will just accept everything it receives as true. Now, if you know anything about human nature, you will know that humans are emotional. We like to think we are rational and better than that, but the majority of our actions are habits, and habits are emotional. They're not rational. Otherwise, nobody would have the habit of smoking or taking drugs, and so the vast majority of our actions are dictated by our unconscious emotional mind. And once information gets accepted by the right hemisphere, our unconscious emotional mind, that information will be accepted as a belief, and we will act in accordance with that belief. So your actions are dictated by what your right hemisphere believes, but your left hemisphere acts as a filter for what the right hemisphere receives. Do you get what I'm saying? Because this is right here is the foundation of the gateway process. Once you understand how to sync up your conscious and your unconscious mind, your left and right hemispheres, you can control the information your right hemisphere accepts and in turn control the actions you take, the results you get, and the reality you create. Now, remember that we move toward what we focus on. Well, achieving this state of hemi-sync is how you can change and control at the deepest level what you're focusing on, both subconsciously and consciously, so that you can move toward it in an effortless way and control your reality. Do you think Elon Musk focuses on how he can't scale his companies and make an impact on the world, or do you think he focuses on how he can scale his companies and make an impact? Whether you agree with what he does or not, he is scaling those companies and he is making a huge impact on mankind. He couldn't do this if he was constantly focused on how he could not do it, because that would cause him to subconsciously make decisions and take actions that move him toward that focus. And so if you want to build your business, you can't be focusing on how you don't know, or how you can't, or how the market is saturated, or any of these excuses. So with this idea, it does not matter how you feel about what you focus on, that thing will come into your life, whether it's good or bad. And so to achieve a business goal, you must sync your brain to focus on how you can achieve it. So right now, let's dive into the 2 techniques you can use to achieve a state of hemi-sync, and then we'll go into how you can use these techniques to control your reality and scale your business. And do you want to know the funny thing about these techniques? Well, world-class athletes like John Jones, Michael Phelps, Conor McGregor, and Michael Jordan have used them to achieve the pinnacle of their sports. Now, I don't know if they've read this document or someone's taught them how to do it, but it's crazy that the best in the world understand the power of what we're about to discuss for achieving their goals. So the first technique is what the CIA say is the most effective and the most powerful, and that is biofeedback. So what is it and how does it work? Well, in the document, they describe biofeedback as it actually employs the self-cognitive powers of the left hemisphere to gain access to such areas of the right brain as the lower cerebral, motor and sensory cortices and assorted pain or pleasure centers. Instead of suppressing the left hemisphere as is done in hypnosis, or largely bypassing and ignoring it as is done in transcendental meditation, biofeedback teaches the left hemisphere first to visualize the desired result, and then to recognize the feelings associated with the experience of successful right hemisphere access in the manner needed to produce the desired result. Now, what this means is that biofeedback is the exact process you need to follow to purposefully and intentionally access a state of hemi-sync and control what your brain accepts as true, and in turn, the actions and decisions you will subconsciously make to turn that belief into reality. But to use biofeedback correctly, you need to combine it with the second technique the CIA discuss, and that second technique is called patterning, where they say in the document this particular methodology is based on the belief that the thought patterns generated by our consciousness in a state of expanded awareness creates holograms which represent the situation we desire to bring about, and in doing so establish the basis for actual realization of that goal. What this is saying is that your thoughts dictate your reality. When you think certain thoughts, you create a hologram. That hologram is essentially a picture in your mind, an image embedded into your subconscious emotional right hemisphere, and you will start to turn that hologram, that image in your mind, into reality. If you think your market is saturated, you create a picture in your mind of how your market is full of competition and it's holding your business back, and so you will act as if it is. If you think you can't scale your business, you create an image in your mind of how you can't scale your business, and you will act as if you can't. This is why we move toward what we focus on, whether it's good or bad. When you focus on something, whether consciously or unconsciously, you create a hologram, an image in your mind that your emotional unconscious brain accepts as true. And since we are largely emotional beings, we will act on that belief that the image is true, and we will subconsciously do whatever it takes to make that image a real part of our life. You know of placebos, right? Well, this is exactly why they work. If you take a group of people and you give them a sugar pill but tell them it's a pill that has these certain effects, they create an image of what effects they believe they will experience, and so their body starts to create those effects despite getting a sugar pill because it had this image in its mind that it believed to be true. That is how powerful this is. Your subconscious mind cannot tell the difference between what is real and what is false. It accepts everything as true so long as it gets through the filter of your conscious mind. So now let's dive into how you can use this CIA document and these two techniques to control your reality and grow your business. Here's how it works. You start with patterning, and then you create a state of hemisync to allow that patterning to imprint into your subconscious mind and accept that pattern as true so that you can build the beliefs and become the person you need to be to grow your business, and you can start to bring that pattern, that image into reality. But you have to do this in a very specific way, which I'm going to detail to you right now. So do you remember what the CIA said about patterning? The thought patterns generated by our consciousness creates holograms which represent the situation we desire to bring about, and in so doing establish a basis for actual realization of that goal. With patterning, the idea here is that you want to create a hologram, an image in your mind that allows you to scale your business. So what you want to do is first create a sense of cognitive alignment. This is just a fancy way of saying get clear on what goal you want to achieve. But it is not as simple as just setting a goal, because if you set a goal, that is something you're choosing with your left brain, your conscious mind. And your conscious mind isn't stupid. If the goal is not true to you, it will not accept the goal, and therefore the goal won't imprint onto your subconscious mind. And so for this to work, your goal must be something you actually want. So it's not something you're trying to achieve because you think it's what you should achieve or because your parents or friends want you to achieve it. You must genuinely want this thing. So as an entrepreneur, your goal might be to scale your business to $1 million. If that's something you truly, genuinely want, then great, you've got this sorted, that is your goal. Now, once you've figured out that thing that you want, you need to create a hologram in your mind of you having achieved that goal. So how do you do that? Well, remember, a hologram is nothing but an image. It's a picture in your mind. So think of this like creating a scene from a movie. What you want to do is create a scene from the movie of your life, but based on the time from when you've already achieved your goal. Now, what do I mean and how do you do this correctly? Well, you want to vividly imagine you as a person, who you are, your beliefs, your mindsets, your habits, your physique, and how you feel as if you've already scaled your business to $1 million. So how would you feel? What would you believe? What would you look like? What would your environment be like? Imagine this all vividly, so vividly that you can actually feel those emotions and feel how you would when you've achieved your goal of growing your business, that sense of achievement and that amazing fulfillment that you would experience. You want to create a scene from the movie of your life as if your goal has already been achieved, as if it's already happened, and as if you are already that person capable of achieving that goal. Now, this part about imagining yourself as if you are that person is crucial, and I'll come back to it in a minute. But there's one thing you need to be careful of when you're doing this. Do not judge your movie scene. So imagine it and put some thought into it, but do not judge or criticize what comes to mind. Don't think it shouldn't be this way, or don't think it needs to be like this. Just let the scene come to your mind and imagine everything in detail, especially the emotions you feel from growing your business and the type of person you are in that scene. Now, once you've got your goal and your movie scene, your hologram, your image, you need to imprint this onto your subconscious mind so that it can accept it as true and you can start bringing that into reality. But remember, for you to do this, that image must pass through the filter of your conscious mind. The easiest and best way to make this happen is to create a hemisync state. So how do you do that? Well, you want to play this movie scene over in your mind every morning when you wake up and every night before you go to sleep. The reason you want to do it in these two moments is because when you wake up and right before you go to sleep, you're in a drowsy, almost sleep-like state where your conscious mind is dampened. And in this document, they say if the left hemisphere can be distracted, either through boredom or through a reduction to a soporific semi-sleep state, external stimuli to include hypnotic suggestions are allowed to pass unchallenged into the right hemisphere, where they are accepted and acted upon directly. What this means is that when you wake up and before you go to sleep, the filter of your conscious mind is more permeable. And if you play the image of your desired state of you having achieved your goal and who you are when you've achieved it, feeling all the emotions and being as vivid as possible every single day, your subconscious mind will accept that image as true, and in turn you will subconsciously believe it, and you will start to subconsciously take actions and make decisions that will move you toward this reality. But there's two specific things you need to realize here. One, your conscious mind may fight back, and 2, there will be a time delay. So let me explain. Your subconscious mind will not accept this image on the first pass through, which is why you need to play the movie scene through your mind twice a day, every day. And because it won't be accepted straight away, your conscious mind might fight back against it, and you might still get doubts during the day where you think, oh, I can't grow my business, or I don't know how to grow my business. If this happens, as soon as you realize what you're thinking or what you're saying, you must correct yourself and play this movie scene through your mind. Remember, the conscious mind is the filter to the subconscious. So if you consciously think a negative thought, your subconscious will start to accept it. This creates an internal battle between the positive reality you're creating and the negative limiting beliefs of your old self. And the only way to counteract this is to correct yourself whenever you start to think any of these negative or limiting thoughts. A few minutes ago, I said having an image of the type of person you are when you've already achieved your goal is crucial for this to work. And that is because of the concept of self-cognition. Now, this is really interesting. What they say in this document is that to complete our outline of the process by which the mind achieves and exercises consciousness, we must also describe the mechanism which accounts for the aspect of human thought that differentiates it from the consciousness of plants or animals, i.e. self-cognition. Humans not only know, but they know that they know. They are able to monitor the process of their own thinking and maintain an awareness of it. What they are essentially saying here is that the advantage humans have is that we can recognize our thoughts, and because we can recognize them, we can change them. This entire process that we went over in this video is underpinned by the fact that you cannot create a change from the place a problem was created. If you have the problem right now of your business not growing, you cannot solve that problem and make a change if you do not change the place you are in or the person that you are. Now, think about this. This is crucial. Certain actions and certain decisions have gotten you and your business to where you are now. And so to get past where you are now, you must make different decisions and take different actions. But the actions you take and the decisions you make are based on the way you view the world. You know, you don't consciously do the wrong thing. You do what you believe to be the right thing in that moment, in that context. Your actions and decisions are based on what you believe to be true about yourself and the world. So if you want your business to grow, you need to change the actions you take and the decisions you make, which means you must change your beliefs about yourself and the world. How do you do that? Well, it starts with self-cognition. It starts with you gaining awareness and understanding your own mental processes, thought patterns, and beliefs. Now, every single human has the power to do this, but very few take advantage of it. And so very few people make any changes, and they just stay stuck in the situation that they're in. If your business isn't growing, how can you expect that to change if you don't look to become aware of and change the very things that dictate the actions you take and therefore the results that you're getting in your business? You must become aware of your thoughts. You must analyze them, interpret them, and this is where the image of the person you need to be to scale your business comes into play. You must compare your beliefs, your mindsets, and your thought processes to that of the person capable of achieving your goals, and then remove those that don't align with that person and build whatever beliefs, mindsets, and thought processes that you don't have, but that person does. Because if you want to build $1 million business, you must take the actions and decisions someone with $1 million business would take. And that requires you to perceive the world and think like that person. And you can start this process by playing this movie in your head multiple times a day, every day, vividly seeing the person you need to be, feeling what they would feel, recognizing their beliefs and who they fundamentally are. You cannot create a change from the place the problem was created. So if your business isn't growing and you want that to change, you must change. You must get clear on the goal that you want to achieve in your business. You must create a movie scene in your head as if you have already achieved your goal, and you must play that movie over in your head every morning and every evening, and you must get to work in building the beliefs, mindsets, and habits of the person you are in that movie so that you can become that person capable of growing your business. Now, what I want you to do is implement the techniques that we discussed in this video, because they will change your fucking life forever and help you grow your business and take it to that next level. But there is another technique which complements what we go over in this video massively. So make sure you check out this video here where I go over that technique, and if you combine them, you're going to be unstoppable in scaling your business and building a life you love.